G'day everyone, it's me, the Anti-Theocrat, back with another one. Before I go into the main content, it's a quick sales pitch. It's the only one you're getting, so enjoy it. Below these videos, I do attach all links to the information if there are links to be had. I also archive all of the information if that's possible. I also supply links to other platforms for my content and how to support me if you wish to do so. That'd be nice, but no requirement. That's it. That's my intro. That's my sales pitch. It's all I've got. It's all you're ever going to get. And now, on with the show. Okay, if the brat in the background can shut up and the cat cannot claw me, I might get through another video. This one has a little bit of a personal touch for me, having had my own experience at breaking down. Over this sort of behaviour. So let's have a look, shall we? I've left this big gap at the top. I don't know why it exists in the page, but 7news.com.au put this story together, which is why it came to my attention. This is mainstream news in Australia, and you would think with this making mainstream news that, you know, the world would start to sit up and notice. No, I wouldn't, but, you know, maybe we should be expecting it. Husband's tears after being humiliated at store for buying wife pads. By the way, see if you can ignore snake removed from woman's mouth, because we're going to do one idiot woman at a time story, okay? So husband's tears after being humiliated at store for buying wife pads. A husband shared his pain after being humiliated while buying pads for his wife. Sharing on Reddit, so I don't know why this made news. The man said he was verbally attacked by a fellow shopper and accused of being a pervert while purchasing the feminine hygiene products. The ordeal left the man so rattled he broke down in tears in his car outside the store, saying that he'd never felt more embarrassed and humiliated in his life. Now, I have my own story with this, because I was on a flight coming back to Australia with both of my partners and my then under 2-year-old son. Now, as I'm the at-home parent in the family, and I'm the one skilled at keeping a child quiet for extended periods, my partners were sitting behind me. We were in the middle aisle seats because I was up against a firewall with the baby seat, with the baby bed thing. My son and I had 2 of the seats, and beside us was another family, a couple with their kid. The hostess walks up to me, leans straight over me, as if I'm not even there, and asks the woman beside me if her son needs anything. She looked dumbfounded, and it took the hostess a little bit to work out that this woman didn't speak English for a start, and maybe she was talking to the wrong person. In the meanwhile, I'm just sitting there waiting to be asked if I'm going to be responsible for my child. So this came to me as a very personal attack on my parenting. Like I say, my partner's both right behind me, filling the 2 seats right behind our 2 seats. But it took me 6 months of telling this story to people, of telling how a corporation, an airline, has policies that discriminate against men, and it evolves into things like this happening, where fathers are written out of their children's lives by the staff. And it took me 6 months of telling this story and what happened before I was telling it to someone I knew, and I was telling it in a little more detail, and it hit home how much of a toll this had on me emotionally. Now, I've had a false allegation at work, in the workplace, and that takes a toll. And that was similar to the toll taken by this woman leaning over me to ask someone else about my child. And it took 6 months before I almost broke down into tears and realised that I was wearing something that I didn't fucking deserve. And so, well, I've turned that into an aggression and anger, which means no woman will ever treat me like that again. And there are many examples in 23 years of being an at-home parent of me having situations like this guy that I have walked away from and worn and not given a fuck about, where I should have bitten back. I tell you now, I would have bitten back when this woman did this to this guy. The husband said the drama started after he FaceTimed his wife in the store to make sure he was buying the right products. I got a call from my wife when I was getting off work. She asked me to pick her up some pads from the store, he wrote. I asked her to send me a text with a picture of the ones she used to make sure I got the right kind. And for those guys out there who have partners, you will know that if you get the wrong ones, you can get in trouble. I get to the store and I cannot find the kind she texted me. So I FaceTimed her in the pad aisle and was showing her the section where her brand is to see if she could find another kind. About 30 seconds later, a woman comes up to me and tells me that I'm being inappropriate and she was going to report me. Now, I want to stop at this point to show you what these aisles look like in case you haven't had to stand in them and look at them. How is looking at these things, even pointing a camera at them, inappropriate? Now, if the store owner approached you or the manager approached you and said, "Are you thieving our corporate secrets or some shit?" you might have cause to, answer his question. But how is it inappropriate? This packaging is just brightly coloured gore on the shelf. There's no... It's not like you're looking at a shelf full of veg. Anyway. Yeah. Mind you, my wife is on the video with me this entire time. Like me with my partners in the seats right behind me. It doesn't matter. I tell my wife to text me a backup pad that I could get her and end the call. Right as my wife is texting me, the man, store manager, and a female clerk come up to me with the woman behind them, and he asks what I'm doing, and that he got a complaint that I was behaving inappropriately. Now see, this is where it turns into something more than just a woman saying he's a creepy guy looking at the pad packets. This woman actually accused him with the management of this store of inappropriate sexual behaviour. That's what this turns out to. Behaving inappropriate in this situation is inappropriate sexual behaviour. And that's where this man probably should have bitten back. Because that's an accusation that goes further than just... It's like a false... My false accusation in the workplace. The people investigating it went into the workplace, told everyone they were investigating me for a claim, then didn't even bother to call me and let me know the results of the thing, even though I knew I'd done nothing. They didn't bother to call me. I had to call them, and they just sort of offhandedly said, "Oh, no, you were cleared, that's all right." The fuck? That was 3 weeks of my fucking life where me and my partners were in fucking turmoil. It could have ruined my life. It could have ruined my business. My business is my reputation. That could have ruined me. I'm an at-home father. How does it look that I might have been inappropriate with someone? For the record, I've been inappropriate with people, but they've always wanted me to be inappropriate with them. Fucking rock and roll lifestyle, I've done it. But, nobody who didn't want my attentions. So yes, this is where this guy is being riveted, there's a good way of putting it, with a really nasty accusation that will rip you to pieces. The man said, despite explaining the situation, things only escalated even more. The woman starts shouting that I was taking pictures of her and I was lying, he said. I showed the manager the text from my wife and told him I just wanted to get my partner her pads and leave. The manager and the woman went up to the front of the store, and the whole time she was screaming to him that he needed to call the police and have me arrested for being a pervert. And I'm telling you now, the appropriate action here would have been to follow them to the counter and demand that the police be called and she be arrested for making false accusations against you in public. Because this is fucking serious shit. We gotta stop women doing this sort of crap to men. While the woman complained, the sales assistant helped the husband find the right pads, and he was able to go on his way. I paid for the pads and left, he added. Then I got in my car and I cried. A grown-ass man crying in his car. Like I said, it will throw you emotionally. You don't realise how bad this shit is until it happens to you. And when, as with my other case, it's a case of a false claim in the workplace, you take that home with you. I have children. I have partners. They wear my fucking fear at what could happen to me. So this isn't just shit you should ignore. This is shit that should be prosecuted. Women should have to fucking face up to their crimes with this shit. I have never felt more embarrassed or humiliated in my life. When I told my wife what happened, she went pale and hasn't stopped apologising to me. Believe it or not, my partners haven't stopped apologising to me after years. If these stories are ever told in their presence, they apologise for me having to go through these things. And it's wrong. It's not their job. They shouldn't be suffering it any more than I am. Social media users were blown away by the man's story. Yeah, I've told my story and people go, wow. And you hear other people with similar stories all the time if you hang around in the right circles. And it's not the first time the Australian news media has done a story about baby changing rooms and so forth. I've been an at-home parent to 2 baby boys. And I've had to use those change rooms. I know exactly what those people go through. That lady need therapy for the shame she felt over menstruation, said one. No, she was fucking Karening at you. She was being an utter fucking Karen bitch. She stuck her nose in where it wasn't fucking needed and went to the manager to have a fucking moan. No, she was not suffering shame over her menstruation. She just wanted to fucking Karen at you. What a weirdo she is. Keep being awesome and never afraid to buy pads after this. Well, there's nothing fucking awesome about buying pads. There really isn't. I tell you, there's more embarrassment in buying fucking condoms. Jeez, fucking. The people replying to this, I don't know. Maybe they don't have to go through these things in life. I don't know. Another added, normally I get my wife medical chocolate when I pick up her pads up for her. I reckon you should go and get yourself some. You deserve it. Nah, see, go and get a fucking carton of beer, mate. Or a bottle of something really nasty. And sod the medical chocolate for your wife. You don't need to make excuses for buying pads. Pads have a million uses, you know. Pads aren't just for vaginas. You know they're a really handy, absorbent, disposable item. Spill a milkshake in your car. Get the wife's pads out, and they'll soak it all up out of the bloody car's carpet for you. Spill oil in your shed. Come inside, grab some pads out of the wife's collection, and mop up that oil. It'll just soak it all away. They can be really handy things to have, and they're disposable. They're meant to be thrown away, so no fucking loss at having to throw away this piece of thing that's now soaked full of milkshake or whatever. No. These are just a handy device to have. I should have a pack in my shed all the time. The good old home brand, name brand ones. If I can do the trick. But yes, the reason this is being made into a video for your viewing pleasure or whatever the fuck you think you're getting out of this, because I know that there are people who will say, What are the comments I've got? Oh, you're too personal. You take it all so... Fuck off. Fuck off. Until you've been in this situation, until you've been in this guy's situation. Now, personally, I think he's a bit soft on this one. It's not the worst thing that could have happened to him. The worst part of this was the woman lying about him being inappropriate to management. Totally a fucking Karen. But maybe, like me, this isn't the first event. Or maybe it is his first event. Maybe he's never come across this in women. This is a natural part of female behaviour. It varies from the Karen down to the woman who will only express this sort of thing in defence of her children. But this bitchy nastiness, this is part of female nature. It just is. Like I say, the best of it is just the women who will do this in defence of husbands and children. And boy, do I have one who will do that in defence of me. But these women who do this in front of the shelves are just displaying that at its absolute worst. So maybe he's never come across it before and this is his first outing. But after 23 years as an at-home parent, I have been through this annually. Sometimes more than that. Sometimes this can be almost a weekly thing depending on the people that you find yourself associating with, where somebody is accusing you or someone is telling you you should be at work supporting your family, and these things eat away at you until a hostess leans over you in an aircraft and for 6 months you are an emotional wreck because some bitch, and not just her, but the corporation behind her, that says single men can't sit beside children because they're a danger to them. Regardless of the fact we have crime reports of women molesting girls on planes, men are the danger. So single men can't sit next to children. So the assumption is that if I'm sitting next to a child and there's a woman beside me, it must be her child. And this, coming down from a corporate level, plays through this hostess to play on my years at that point, around about 20 years of being an at-home parent, putting up with that shit. Changing rooms, buying pads for your wife, flying around the world. It all fucking adds up. We've got to stop letting women do this shit to us. And I don't care if you're the sort of guy who thinks, oh, you're a weak cunt, what are you doing crying? When you find yourself in this position, you let me fucking know what you find. Seriously. Because I'm not the sort of guy who breaks into tears. I'm not the sort of guy who cries. I'm the sort of guy who'd cut my leg off and go, fuck, that was a mistake. But this emotional shit can fucking ruin you. It'll cut right through you in ways some crap won't. So when you've got your own example of it, you come and tell me how you felt. How you felt after 3 weeks of investigation in the workplace. Because some little girl who didn't like a conversation, the topic of a conversation that just came up over a smoko room table, accused you of sexually inappropriate behaviour. And if you think a discussion about Mother Teresa included anything fucking sexual, because that's what I got accused of. She didn't like the discussion that I brought up through something that was going on around the smoko table. And she didn't like something I said. And next thing I fucking know, I've got a claim against me that my family had to suffer through for 3 weeks of fucking investigation. That shit will ruin you. And that's it. I've had enough. I'm going. I do not want to do this anymore. I've had enough of this. I'm out of here. I've been the anti-theocrat. May your gods remain fictional. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, have fun.